What's happening, Celtic fans? How we doing? Let's talk all things Celtic. It's been a wee while since I've done a Celtic video on here, because not much has been happening, let's be honest. Stephen Welsh has left the club. I've already spoke about that. Mutual contract termination of Stephen Welsh's contract. He's now moved on. Lewis Palma has moved on. So a couple of players have left Celtic in the last couple of days, and the big one is we've appointed Martin O'Neill as the manager. I'm happy about it, to be honest. I know that a lot of people are kind of sceptical. They're kind of maybe not as excited as maybe you would have been if it was a different kind of manager. A lot of people wanted Askew from Motherwell, but he moved on. He went away to Toulouse in France. So Martin O'Neill has been appointed. I've watched the Brian Wilson video on Celtic TV, which I was impressed with in parts. He was saying a lot of the things that are correct that a lot of people did, had access to grind, as the phrase that he used when it came to Celtic and winning that league. There was definitely some people out there who already had, issues with Celtic and stuff, who used that opportunity to stick the boot in, as we like to say. I've already mentioned those people, so that is just my opinion. It's over and done with now. Celtic won the league fair and square. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But aye, Brian Wilson, I kind of think he did kind of condone though the Celtic fans, running on the park at the end, using it as emotion and stuff. Don't care. They shouldn't have done it. They should have at least. I don't have a problem with people coming on the park, but wait till the players are off. Wait till everybody's off the field of play. And then you can come on the park and celebrate like they did in 1998. When everybody was on the park, including myself. So I'd be a hypocrite saying that nobody should be going on the park, even though I was only 12-year-old, right enough. But my dad took me on, my uncles and stuff. And I don't have a problem with anybody entering the field of play. I've got a problem with people entering the field of play at 90 minutes when there's still the opposition players on the park. It's just not my thing. Anyway, he did kind of condone that, which I don't agree with. I know a lot of Celtic fans will give me hate for that, but that's just my opinion. I don't like it. But anyway, he said a lot of the right things. It's going to be a very busy transfer window, and I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping that Martin O'Neill will be backed. And this is another thing, Martin O'Neill's there, but we don't know who's going to be his coaching staff. There's still, I believe, to agree terms with Sean Maloney, Mark Fotheringham, all these guys. And it's not good enough. Celtic need to come out and address these situations. Apparently, through the wonders of the social media, apparently Celtic have offered Sean Maloney and Mark Fotheringham a wage cut, because they had to pay off the Wilfred Nonce money, which I don't know if it's true. Nothing has been confirmed. I've just seen reports on that, and until you hear it from Celtic or whatever, I don't really believe anything unless it's been reported by the club or whatever. Because this is the exact moment in time where journalists and newspapers and various media outlets will make up stuff. They will just do stuff and say stuff to attract views and attract comments and attract attention to their particular, their whatever they're up to. So anyway, that's not been addressed yet. We do know that Martin O'Neill has signed a 1-year contract with an option to extend that for another year. And like I say, I think he fully deserves it after last season. We would not have won anything if it wasn't for Martin O'Neill, in my opinion, and we would have ended trophyless. Hearts would have won the league. And we wouldn't have got to. We wouldn't have won a cup. Dunfermline would have had a right good chance if it was a Wilfred Nonce team or whoever else had come in there. But Martin O'Neill did get the job done because he's a genius, so he deserves the job again. He's 75 years old, or 74, I think he is, which is obviously not a young manager, but he's clearly still got it as a man manager. He's clearly still got it as a coach. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he gets the best out of these players. And that's the thing. If we back this guy, we can get the best out of players of a higher level, which is very, very exciting. Danny Roll has left Rangers. It looks like he's going to Salzburg, which is mad. Jurgen Klopp has obviously got something to do with that because he's the director of football or whatever you want to call it over there. I'm sure he is, but he's clearly wanted Danny Rowe in there. And Derek McInnes is going to be the new Rangers manager, according to Fabrizio Romano. It's not quite done yet, but it's looking like it's going to be. It's an interesting one for Rangers, isn't it? You know, but anyway, we're here to talk about Celtic, but they are our biggest rivals, so we need to talk about them. You know, it's a shame for Hearts losing their manager and their captain within the space of a few weeks. But that was always going to happen. A victim of your own success. Motherwell will be the exact same whenever their players move on, which will happen. Elijah Just and Elliot Water, that will move on. But hopefully to Celtic. I'd like to see Elijah Just at Celtic, to be honest with you. Very, very good player. But as for everything else, Celtic, there's no really much going on for what I've read, for what I've seen. But like I say, over the next few weeks, I think it will be very busy. I think we will see lots of comings and goings. Daiza Maeda played last night for Japan in the World Cup. He looked alright. He didn't really get many opportunities, but you know, I can definitely see Dyson moving on. I think that's a done deal to wherever he's going to go. I think as soon as a bid comes in, Celtic will allow him to move on. Benjamin Nigren, I know I'm worried about him. How will he perform at this World Cup? I know that they won 5-1 yesterday, but will he perform well? Where you know, suitors will be after him, and Arnie Ingles is going to move on definitely. So, I think we're going to lose the three of them. I hope that Nigren stays out of the three. To be honest with you, I've kind of accepted that Maeda's going to move on. I've accepted that Ingles is going to move on. But you know what? I'm happy for these guys to move on to what they deem bigger and better things, which I don't really always necessarily agree with. You know, Daiza Maeda wasn't happy because he didn't get a move to Wolfsburg. Are Wolfsburg a bigger club than Celtic? Absolutely not. They play at a much higher level, yes. And they'll pay them more money, yes. But as for the size of the football club, nowhere near the size of Celtic. But, you know, these guys want to move on. They're no Celtic fans. They know they're chasing the money, which you would do. You've got one career and you've got a chance to make loads of money. So that's why these guys move on and stuff. I've done a video no longer about Jota. I'm really, really worried about Jota. I mean, it looks to me as if that guy is going to really struggle to come back into any kind of football arena, to be honest with you. It's looking like it could be a career-threatening injury, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? We've not been told much. We've just kind of, again, just heard rumours here and there. But if he comes back, you know, fit and raring to go, then it's like a new player for Celtic, but I wouldn't be relying on that. You know, all the loanees are now away. Fianchara, Adamu, Arajo, all these guys are all away, and Vuku, all these people. So, you know, Celtic was just like starting afresh. Callum Osmond's came back from injury. He'll be good for next season. Young player, looks decent, to be honest with you. Looks as if he could make a real impact at Celtic. I like him. He's quick, he's direct, and he can score goals, and that's what you need. But we do really only have him as, like, if Maeda leaves and stuff, we've got him and Ian Atchell, who we can't rely on to be fit. Top player. Yeah, I think Ian Atchell's excellent whenever he's fit, but you can't rely on being fit. That's the problem. So we definitely need a striker. We need players all over the park, to be honest. We really do. You know, and it's exciting. It is exciting for this new season ahead. Brian Wilson, like I said that it's going to be busy, so I'm assuming that the Celtic staff, you know, all over are working hard off the park, you know, working hard behind the scenes to get some deals over the line and stuff. Let's no mess about. Let's no dilly-dally. We've got a Champions League qualifier in August, I believe. So, you know, we want to be fully prepared as possible for that. We've got a couple of months to go, so I'm not panicking too much. I don't like it when it goes days and weeks without any word for Celtic, though, because it took them like over a week to announce that Palma and Stephen Welsh were leaving the club. It took them over a week to announce that Martin O'Neill's the manager, and we all knew it would happen. The media had already reported that it was done. So it's just that Celtic need to have more conversations with the Celtic fans and let Celtic know. And that's what Brian Wilson did say. Jeremy Cullick asked him that question. Will there be more dialogue with the fans and stuff? And he says we've already said that there'll be people being employed for that certain thing. That's what he said in that interview and stuff. So I'm really hoping that Celtic are more open and honest with everybody, not just the Celtic fans, with the whole of football, about what's happening behind the scenes. Um, but obviously all the focus at the moment for everybody is on the World Cup, isn't it? You know, let's be honest. We are always thinking about Celtic and always hoping that we hear news, positive news of players coming in and stuff. But let's be honest, all the top level players are on the World Cup. So um, obviously there will be players there who we will sign that are not at the World Cup, and you know teams didn't make it obviously and stuff. But I mean, I'm really hoping that there is a number of signings coming in over the next few weeks, and I'm sure there will be, and I'll be reporting on everything. So remember, subscribe to this channel, Jamie Talks Celtic. I'm trying to build this up as much as possible. The other week there on my other podcast, Off the Underside, I had the opportunity to sit down with Gordon Strachan for 5 minutes and Jim Delahunt, which was just brilliant, man. And I would love for this podcast to go to that level where I'm talking to Celtic players and stuff. But it's a pipe dream, but dreams do come true sometimes. I would never have thought I'd got the opportunity to talk to Gordon and stuff. And by the way, I was sitting talking to Gordon Strachan that night at the Grosvenor Casino 2 weeks ago, and in fact it was just a week ago, just over a week ago, last Saturday. And I was meant to talk to Chris Boyd as well, and Chris Boyd didn't want to talk to me because of my Celtic connections. So that's a bit of a shame, because it's not as if I was going to dupe him into anything or whatever, but at the end of the day, he didn't want to talk to me because I support Celtic and I do Celtic content. He didn't want Rangers fans to see it. Okay, but anyway, it is what it is. One day I would love to be part of the Celtic fan media. Time will tell. We'll try our best for that. But anyway, like I say, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, all that stuff, and come on, a Celtic.